Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Tanks and welcome back today to an Object 260 tank review. I was looking through my YouTube channel the other day and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I've done an Object 260 tank. I haven't done an Object 260 tank review. So yesterday I was playing some games, I got a really good replay for you. So we're going to be going through the stats of the vehicle, compare it to some others, you know the drill. I'll tell you whether I think the tank is a good tank, a bad tank, how to play it, how to take it out, all of the good stuff. And then it's not an ace tanker, but I feel like it should have been an ace tanker gameplay at the end. If you really do want to know what you need to do to get an ace tanker in this thing, I have got ace tankers in this tank up on my channel. I just wanted to put an actual Object 260 tank review up on my channel. So what is the Object 260? For those of you who don't know, it is the 4th reward for the first campaign of personal missions down here. I got this tank a long time ago, and it is probably one of my favourite tanks in the game. I would say probably in my top 3 favourite tanks. I absolutely love this thing. As you can see, I've got 2 marks of excellence. I've used one of my Twitch camouflages on it, which I really like. Almost got a 7 skill crew in this thing now. They're on their 6th skill, 95% 4 girls. I can't remember what they are actually for, the 705A. Obviously, because this thing is a reward tank, you can use it, use any Soviet heavy tank crew in it with no penalty. It doesn't make extra credits or anything like that, but nonetheless, it is a very good tank. So let's go hop over into Tanks GG, and I will show you why that is the case. We'll go through the stats and we'll compare it to some other tanks, and I will explain why this thing is so good. Right, so over in Tanks GG, and I'm just going to compare this tank to, well, several other tanks. I'm probably directly going to be comparing it to only 1 or 2 tanks per stat, but obviously, if you want to actually look what the tanks look like in comparison to everything, what the tank looks like in comparison to everything else, then you can always pause the video and have a look at the stats in relation to others. So what kind of category does the Object 260 fall into? It falls into probably my favourite category in the game. I love all of these tanks that you can see here. And that's the fast, heavy tanks. The potentially slightly less armoured, probably not so much in the case of the i7, but heavy tanks that are fast, usually have quite good guns, very good all-round tanks. And the 260, in my opinion, is one of the better all-round tanks in the game, and I always stand by it. So straight off the bat, oh, actually, we're going to go for base values, so no crews or anything. 2,400 DPM, it's pretty good. It's not terrible, it's pretty good. Similar to the 277, but a smidge below the 2 Chinese tanks here. We've got the 113, the 5A, the 277, the R7. I should have said that. Penetration is very good, actually. 260, not quite the 265 of the 277. That thing gets very nice standard rounds. However, I will say with the standard rounds, 1,259 meters per second shell velocity. This is one of the best things, and I think one of the most underrated things about the Object 260. Its premium rounds are APC. Its premium rounds. Its standard rounds are APCR, so it gets really nice shell velocity on those standard rounds. It means you don't have to give hardly any lead at all on tanks, making the rounds very easy and comfortable to use. Done the penetration, 440 average damage. It's got 122mm gun, as you can see here. Obviously, in this comparison, we're comparing to a lot of 130, so up to 490, same as the 113. But obviously, 440 beats out your tanks such as your Super Conqueror and your E5. I was going to add them to the comparison as well, but I thought that's going to get a bit crazy if I add all of the tier 10 heavy tanks. So I'm not adding those, but 440, again, in my opinion, 440 and 490 are some of the best alpha damages in the game. They pack enough of a punch that people don't just go, oh, I'll take a shot, go around and shoot you, but they're not so high alpha that you're investing so much into one shell, which is always nice. Ammo capacity of 40 rounds. This got buffed a little while ago, which is very nice indeed, just because you always want to be able to take a nice variety of heat rounds and standard rounds, because like I say, the standard round is in this thing very nice indeed, but you do also need several heat rounds. I should point out as well, not that it's going to come as a surprise to anyone, the premium rounds are heat, 340mm of heat pen, pretty much similar to most other things, to be fair. Now, onto the gun handling, and this is where I absolutely adore the Object 260, and which is why I think I like it compared to a lot of other tanks in this comparison. Look at the gun handling. 2.2 seconds aim time. Absolutely lovely. Love a tank with good aim time. And 0.35 dispersion. Combine that with better dispersions whilst moving, whilst traversing the tank and traversing the turret than any other vehicle. Better whilst firing than any other vehicle. And it makes it so nice. You can snap shots in this tank. You very rarely miss shots in this tank. It's just such a reliable gun. Like I said, combining that shell velocity with the alpha, with the half decent DPM, and this this good gun handling, I feel like it's more usable DPM, because in the 5A I think has got the highest DPM in this comparison. Oh, well, 5A or 113. But the 2.8 seconds or 2.5 seconds aim time, it really does suck, and you can't really snapshots out, as well as they've got really poor dispersions, and the accuracy itself is not overly great. So the 260 is very nice in that regard. Elevation 15 degrees, worse than the rest, but elevation only comes into a play in very few situations, so I won't worry about it too much, and it's not shocking. I don't ever think, oh god, I've run out of elevation. Gun depression 6 degrees, yeah, it's pretty crap if you take the game as an overall. But in terms of Russian tanks, just be thankful it's not 5. Not quite as good as the Chinese is 7. But 6 degrees, I always say 6 degrees is workable. On top of that, for the Object 260, very nice top speed. 60 kilometers an hour, even quicker than the 55 on the 277. Quicker than the rest of the tanks as well. Best horsepower per ton, 1200 horsepower engine, 19.58 horsepower per ton. That's a good medium tank horsepower per ton, which is what I'm saying. That gun, so far it looks basically like a medium tank, and that's probably more a medium tank than the rest of these tanks, but it's still, I would say, definitely a heavy, very fast tank. 60 tons as well, so if you get a chance to ram something, the 260 is pretty good at ramming. Terrain resistance is pretty much in the middle of everything, not quite as good as the Chinese, but a bit better than the other two Russian tanks. The tank traversed 28 degrees a second, a little on the sluggish side, but not too bad. And again, 26 degrees turret traverse. That's slap bang in the middle. Not that I'd say that's terrible, but you could tell it's a heavy tank. Sorry about hiccups. Now, armor we will cover in a minute, because this is obviously actual base values don't mean jack crap, because if it's flat, it doesn't matter. If it's angled, it's even better. 2,100 health, again slightly on the lower side. All of these tanks are towards the lower side of health when it comes to tier 10 heavies. That's just purely because of the fact, like I said, they're faster heavies. They rely more on their speed, and they're good guns to get them out of trouble than being able to tank a lot of rounds like, say, a Mouse or an E100 or a Type 5, stuff like that. 400 meters view range, same across the park. You can get a very nice good view range in this tank. Fire chance, don't get set on fire. It's you know, don't show your engine, it's fine. You're more likely to get hit in the fuel tanks, to be fair. And the shell cost is not too shabby, 440. It's a little high for 440 when you consider that the IS-7 is cheaper and the 5A is cheaper, and they're 490. But like I say, you're probably more likely to pen more standard rounds, especially than like the IS-7 and that, because of the accuracy and because of the slightly higher standard penetration. Oh, what am I doing? I forgot to get another tab going. So, the 3D model of the 260 onto the armor. It's not too bad. Again, like I say, you've got to take this with a pinch of salt, because obviously it's a Russian heavy tank, which means it's, well, it doesn't mean, but this has got a piked nose. Same if you're familiar with the IS line, the IS-3 and the IS-7, the 257, the T10, if you've got that. It's a piked nose, you're familiar with this. The upper plate works best when flat, the lower plate works better when angled, so you can get some funky bounces. The upper plate itself is 150mm thick, but angled perfectly on the flattened level, looking straight at this tank, 350, so you'll even be blocking premium rounds in this thing. If you're using your gun depression, hide your lower plate, it is absolutely amazing. The turret, I would say, it's got a tiny cupola, and even then it's 225mm thick. Like, that wasn't even on the flat, that's on the flat. You can barely hit the cupola. This thing, I think, has got one of the best turrets in the game. Side is definitely not as good as the IS-7, but you really have to be giving a lot of side turret before they can actually pen it. Front of the turret is just a no-go. Don't even bother shooting this thing unless you're playing a tier 10 tank destroyers, because like, even if I change to heat, you're still, what, at best 40% chance of going through, so don't even try the turret of this thing. The lower plate, like I said, is a little bit weaker. 250 when you're on the flat. If you're out a little ways, 220. So it's still good if you get top tier in this tank against tier 8s and stuff. Obviously, if you're using gun depression, it becomes flatter. But this is what I say this thing is definitely still a heavy tank, because it still has armor that you can use. Hide the lower plate. If you could use a tiny bit of gun depression, the upper plate on this thing is honestly insane. You've just got to be careful when you're coming around corners, things like that. It has got quite an exposed drive wheel, and obviously people can pen the corners of your hull when you flatten it out, or if they're above you slightly as well. It's quite easy to pen. The side armor, not too shabby. 100mm side armor, so it's not the greatest, but it's not the worst. Got kind of, if you're side scraping, kind of side scrape like this, just they can't hit your drive wheel. Like I said, if you do present too much side, I love taking the tracks off of 260 drivers who are not playing properly and just sitting them there, pinning them with a turret around the corner like this. Imagine there's a wall here and you can just farm them to bits. I'd never recommend showing the side armor, although if you do, it has got the standard Russian black hole on the side of you shoot it here, who knows what happens to your shell, and obviously you have got the tracks as well if people are firing heat, so it's not too shabby. But yeah, that's the armor of the Object 260. We're going to jump back into the garage. I'll just give you a quick rundown of my recommended crew skills. At the end of the day, you're not going to be using a dedicated Object 260 crew probably, so it's not massive. And I'll also give you my opinion on what, well, I think you've already got my opinion on what I think of this tank, but what I think of this tank and whether I recommend getting it. So let's jump back into the game. So, back into the garage, guys. Crew skills, like I said, just very quickly going to jump through these. I'm actually going to have to get the personal files up because I've completely forgotten what the first crew skills are. Because these were girls, I got Brothers in Arms first, but you always want to go the standard repairs, then swap it out for your Sixth Sense, your safe stowage, etc, etc. Pretty much a standard heavy tank crew. You just want to keep good repairs, get Sixth Sense, get Brothers in Arms, then keep repairs, then get things like your snapshots, your good view range in this tank is always nice. Like I say, in mine, I've got... Oh, God, don't accidentally press battle. I've got... What is my view range? 461 meters, so you can do quite a lot of spotting as well. I would recommend as well, once you start getting to your 5th and your 6th crew skills, as you can see me here, obviously loader crew skills are crap, so that's why I've gone camo on the 6 skills, because I'm running out of skills. But you probably want to go firefighting, so then you can drop... the automatic fire extinguisher and get premium consumable, just because that tunes the tank even better, gives you even more DPM. My DPM in this thing is rocking over 3,000. Over 3,000. I'm also using a firefighting directive, just so on those occasions when you do happen to catch fire, you're not burning for that long, and if you sit still, you can usually put it out within 3 or 4 ticks sometimes. Ammo wise, I kind of go 50-50. If I'm taking this thing into ranked or clan wars, obviously I'll go a little bit more premium, but never ever just go full heat in this thing because the APCR rounds are so nice. Equipment wise, again, you can see here, gun rammer, vert stabs, vents, pretty standard for a heavy tank. You could go optics, but I feel with a premium consumable, a good crew and everything, 461 meters view range, you don't really need it. That's just a bit overkill, to be honest. Beyond that, with the situations you're going to want to be getting this tank into, it's pretty good. I am going to put improved equipment on this tank. I'm just waiting. Obviously, I've got 30,000 bonds, so I could just buy it. But I'm waiting for the ranked season that's just finished. I should be getting a improved rammer and improved vents? Or improved gun lane drive? I don't know, something like that. So I'm going to put an improved rammer on this tank. I might put improved vents maybe as well, just to help the DPM, but... it's honestly entirely up to you guys. I'd say if you get the 260, you're probably not going to sell it because it is a reward tank for completing the personal missions. And yeah, now would I recommend this tank? I think you already know the answer to this 100%. It's one of my favourite tanks in the game. I think it's a great all-round tank. You can use it in Clan Wars. You can use it in ranked quite effectively just because it's just good at everything. It's got a very good gun. It's pretty quick. It's got good frontal armour. It's got good view range, and for a heavy tank, it's not got shocking camo either, so you know, it's just a great all-round tank. If you're good enough to get this thing, you're going to be able to play it incredibly well. And even if you're struggling to get through those last few missions, I'd urge you, concentrate on your missions, try to unlock this thing, because it is bloody, bloody lovely. Now, without further ado, that's enough of me chatting. No things going bang. Let's go jump into gameplay. If you have enjoyed the video, guys, please consider giving it a like. If you're new to the channel as well, please consider subscribing, because most of my viewers, especially of these tank reviews, are not already subscribed. So if you are, please consider subscribing. I can't speak. And if you've got this far into the video, you clearly don't hate me that much. Either that, or I'm currently on mute and you're just looking, in which case, this is irrelevant. But anyway, let's go jump into the gameplay. So, here we go, guys, into the gameplay. And I know I've started speaking a little bit before the countdown, but you'll see why in a second. I'm obviously in the Object 260. I'm in a platoon with Tom. He's also in his Object 260. And yes, I know we've got an incredibly nice game here. Tier 8s, couple of Tier 9s, couple of Tier 10s, 4 Tier 10s on each team, 4 Tier 9s, and then the rest Tier 8s. If this offends you greatly, and you're like, but Max, you should be playing against Tier 10, blah, 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 blah. Go look at some of my other Object 260 games on my channel. There are several against Tier 10s and that as well. Now, first thing I want to point out in this game, why I started and got that bit out of the way before the gameplay, speed of the Object 260. You can see we're doing 60 kilometers an hour here, and that's going to be really important because I make a very, very rash decision at the start. I'm a top tier tank. This could have gone very, very wrong, and you are going to see why. I'm one of the first up to here. I know there's going to be enemy tanks there, but I take the risk. MX-30 T-44 and a Foch-B, and I was like, oh crap. I got tracked, repaired the tracks as quick as I can. I thought if I get tracked here again, if that Foch-B would have tracked me there, that was it, game over. But me being as fast as I was, I managed to get up the hill. Like I say, not overly great side armor. T-44, oh no, the T-44 bounced, sorry. Did he? Or did he hit me first? No, he hit me first. But we managed to get up the hill, and now look at this position I'm in. I can hide my lower plate on this little bit here. Oh dear, that MX-30 is not going to be happy. He crashed into the E75GS, and I set him on fire for the second time. Already up to 1900 damage. We hit the T-44 on the move at the start again, and even though this is relatively close range, just look how small my aim circle stays, and look how quick it is to aim. It's absolutely lovely being able to snipe the cupola of this Foch-B. I know, obviously, it's really close range. I'm focusing the Foch-B right now because he is obviously the most important target on this flank. He can quite easily, if he takes my tracks off, he can kill me in like 4 seconds or something stupid like that. Full health shot? No. Make sure I finish the Foch-B off. Picking up my second kill of the game, and we're already up to 3,400 damage. I'm basically using the entirety of my DPM right now. Going for the cupola of the T-95. He says using the entirety of his DPM, followed by a 10-second pause between firing shells. Tom is doing really well on this opposite corner just here. I'll just look for a second. He's side scraping. He's using the side armor of the 260s. He pretty much angled perfectly, to be fair. Nice shot in there. Can we get that guy? No. Oh, if the Emil's going to do that, I will take his tracks off quite comfortably. Like I said, 440 Alpha, one of my favourite Alphas, just because it's got a quick enough reload that you can retrack people if they haven't got the greatest repair speed. Already up to 5,200 damage, and this has just been a chicken shoot. But like I said, this was a chicken shoot. This was a turkey shoot, however the hell you want to say it. Because at the start of the game, I risked it. I used the speed of the Object 260, again there, firing on the move at the lower plate of an IS-22. And you can do that in the 260, you feel like you can do that. Tom picks up 3 kills in a row there, very nice. Now, looking at the map quickly, there's an Object 263 to my right. I'm kind of like, yeah, I could go up there and kill him, but I don't really want to. T-44 has got the 122mm gun, so as soon as I saw him fire, I know I don't really have to worry about him. And the IS-3 finishes him off. And I couldn't talk quick enough. It's 10-2 already. But yeah, like I was saying, yes, that was kind of a turkey shoot, but it was the speed of the 260 and the fact that then I used that speed to get into position, but then had the armor that when I was in that position, they couldn't really do anything because I was hull down and there was no real point in shooting at me. Yes, obviously I understand that it was obviously a lot easier because Tom was there. I'm looking around for artillery, can't see artillery, and I look, and there's still 3 of their 4 tier 10s alive. And look, their ST2 and Object 705A are still on full health. And I was like, oh, baby, this is going to get interesting because I'm on 6,500 damage already. Again, the Object 260 just using the speed to get back across the map. Well, we're on Tundra, by the way. I never actually said that, but if you play World of Tanks, you know. Just look at the speed of this thing. And again, I've now loaded heat purely and simply because of the fact that I'm now going up against their 2 tier 10 heavies. Not ideal into the side of a 705A, but still managed to get it below his little, the black holes on the side of that thing. This one, unfortunately, we go into the tracks. Again, heat rounds into the tracks. I kind of wish I'd have had APCR loaded there. I expected the ST2 to be a hell of a lot closer. He wasn't actually that close. And we put one into him. Can we get a second? No. We'll concentrate on the 705. Annoyingly, our team's actually capping here. As soon as that 705 angles up, I can put heat straight through his upper plate. Our Type 4 Heavy has decided he's had enough and he wants to cap, which is really annoying. I need to apologise to Tom there. He needed that kill to do a mission, and I didn't notice that guy. I just wasn't really concentrating that guy was on 411 health when I pulled the trigger, and I feel really bad about it. But sorry, Tom. Yeah, up to 8,000. Tom's saying no cap because obviously he needs to do his mission. Unfortunately, our team do cap. The Grill 15 and the Type 4 Heavy. To be fair, the Type 4 Heavy probably could have got back because obviously from the cap to over here on Tundra is not that far. It's not like he's all the way back here. Unfortunately, he did cap. I kind of wish the game would have gone on a little bit longer because I could have probably got up to 9k, broken the 9k mark there because I'd have definitely got a shot in before the T-34. Tom would have got a shot in, potentially even 9.4. But holy moly guacamole. That was a pretty goddamn good game. Pretty good game. Object 260. Bloody love it. Absolutely love it. 5 kills for Tom, 3 kills for me. I did 8,600 damage. We will go look at the post-game stats in just a second. I don't really think I can say a lot else. You guys know I love this tank. Must know I love this tank right now. It's one of the better tanks at tier 10 in my opinion. Even though it's quite old, it's still one of the better tanks at tier 10. I highly recommend picking this thing up. And yeah, we'll jump into the post-game stats. There we go, guys. That was, yeah, just an absolute stomp, to be honest, in the Object 260. But that just shows what that thing can do when it's top tier. Like I said, if you do want to see what it's like against other tier 10s, there are plenty of other videos on my channel that you can go. I might link a couple if I remember. Future Max, remember. I probably won't remember. So that was the first class. Like I say, shame it wasn't an ace, really. I just don't think I got quite enough kills, and obviously quite a lot of the damage was to tier 8 tanks. If it was a full tier 10 game and I did that much damage, 100% we would have got the ace. First class, we got Brothers in Arms. Me and Tom both got 3 kills. I think he got 5, and we both survived. Confederate as well, and also a high caliber, probably quite unsurprisingly. 8,619 damage. 3 kills and 1,255 base XP. So this thing is quite tricky to ace. You do need quite a lot of XP, I think. I honestly can't remember what the base threshold is for it. Tom still had a really decent game. 4,227 damage, 5 kills, and a slap bang on 1,000 base XP as well. And to be fair, my team didn't, considering how much damage I did, my team didn't do that bad. If the team would have sucked just a little bit more, I potentially could have probably broken the 10k mark this game, which would have been very, very nice, because I'm not 100% sure if I've done it in the Object 260 yet. Again, just really a testament to the Object 260's gun. 21 shots fired, 21 shots hit, and 20 penetrated, which is very, very good indeed. It's the aim time, it's the accuracy, it's the shell velocity. Like I keep saying, guys, it's very, very good. We didn't block much with our armor that game, but I think that's more the position we were in. It didn't need to be blocked. Tom blocked 4,500, so that's just to prove that the 260 can actually use its armor and can bounce shots. 972 assisted. I had a personal reserve on at the time, so we made pretty decent credits. But even if we wouldn't, we'd have still made a bit of a profit. But that's just because of all the AP rounds I fired, or APCR rounds. So it's not too shabby at all. I'm not going to bother jumping back into the garage. You guys know my opinion on this tank by now. I absolutely love it. I think you should get it. I think it's one of the best all-round tanks at tier 10 and an absolutely brilliant tank. On that, please consider giving the video a like, guys, if you have enjoyed. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I'm on a drive to get more subscribers now. Also, go over and follow me on Twitch. I'm nearly at 500 followers on Twitch now. Just search msimpson54 on Twitch as well. I do stream semi-regularly. I don't want to say 100% regularly. Semi-regularly, usually once or twice a week. But just head over there, turn notifications on. That's the best way to know if I'm streaming. And on that, guys, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you next time.